It's 4 p.m. Stand up. It's count time. It's time for every man and woman to stand up and be counted. I am Brother L.D. Azoba, and I'd like to welcome you to another edition of Count Time Podcast. Now, where we going to start here today? I went and dug one up for me. I went dug deep. And I found me an Italian, long floss, my long friend. One of the few Italians I really had got to know in my days. One of my former teammates. We arrived at LSU together in 1977. And I have here today a dear friend, a brother, a teammate, colleague, just everything. I'd like to welcome Mark Ippolito to Count Time.
Welcome. I'll tell you what, man, it's when you said dug deep, I thought for a second you really dug deep. Things must be sad.
It ain't that bad yet, man. It ain't got that bad yet.
But still, we just started this interview, man. Give me some time.
Give me some time, man. But no, I like to thank you for being here. You just don't know what it took. We talked about this almost a year ago.
I think it was like 2 years.
Over 2 years ago, and we finally got it. He was scared. Now, why would he be scared to come sit down and talk to me? I'm free.
Anytime you put a Catholic Italian on the oath, man.
I mean, you want to be honest to the most part.
I understand, but you never know. I don't want to be have anything that's going to incriminate me in the future.
But I want to say any and everything.
Statute of limitations is over and everything.
I want to say any and everything you say can and will be used against you.
That's right. That's right. So, read me my last page, right?
But no, man, we got so much history. We first met in 1970, the summer of 1977. We played in the Louisiana High School All-Star game where we first met. This big old guy, he was a big old Italian, showed up on the field. You know, he got it going on. You know, everybody heard about him. He was one of the top recruits in the state of Louisiana. That's right. Coming out, and he was a linebacker. So when I got a chance to see him, I'm like, God damn, that boy no linebacker. That boy would be a defensive lineman. You know, he was 6'4", 235 when you arrived.
Yeah, I was about 6'4", 240. But you know, at Brother Martin, we played the split 40. So we had two inside linebackers, and every once in a while we would go into a 5-3. And when I was playing with a guy named Chip Antonini, another Italian boy, Chip had the bright idea to go down in the nose guard position. Chip was a lot smaller than me, but he was faster. And he could get through the guard center gap a little easier. But then every once in a while, when it was a short yardage situation, I'd go down in the nose guard, and that's how I was stuck in the middle.
Okay, you stuck in the middle, huh?
Yeah.
But it was interesting when we arrived in Baton Rouge, the old country boy from out of Franklin, Louisiana, and we was on the West team.
That's right.
We was on the West team, right?
On the West side.
We was on the West team.
The red.
We got a red jersey on, and so you know I'm showing up here. I don't know what to expect, and but it was a good time. A lot of good guys showed up. A lot of guys you had been hearing about back in those days. But this guy here showed up, Mark showed up, he had that little arrogance about him. I got to be honest now. He had that little arrogance. I'm Mark Ippolito. Now, he gained the respect because you look at how big he was and he could play. But anyway, what was that experience like for you when you showed up? Now, you was Mr. All-World at that time. So you had a different perspective. I was just glad to be there. So what was it like for you?
I was absolutely glad to be there. But, we had a wonderful signing class from our first year at LSU.
We had one of the best.
And most of the guys that were invited to that All-Star game were on LSU signing class, in our signing class. So it was a good opportunity for us to get to know one another. We stayed in the dorm. When I showed up, I just wanted to make my impact because I was going to the next level.
Right.
And I remember Hokie and Jude. We had a lot of guys.
We had a lot of guys.
Remember?
Matter of fact, Robert Monfou's dad, Robert Senior, coached.
Yes, he was on the coach.
Him and the coach from my hometown, Coach McCloskey, who came out of Hanson High School. He was our coach. And but it was a good class of guys. And there was a lot of fun. That week was a wonderful.
Yeah, that was a great week. I mean, I enjoyed it. That was so much fun that weekend. And it was a really good indoctrination. I don't want to say that word, that's the wrong word, but it was a very good example of what LSU life was going to be. Remember, we stayed in Broussard and fed us and everything? Yeah, when everybody else showed up, we were there already. We were the ropes, man.
Because that was only a few weeks before.
Yeah, we were not the typical freshman coming in.
Let me see. That game was played a month before we showed up for camp.
We played that game
In June. In June or July?
No, it was in July.
July.
And we showed up like middle of August.
So we was already, we got a feel for everything. So it was a different feel when we got there. But showing up in that high school all-star game, you're looking at all this talent on both sides of the field, the East, the West team, and but we had some great guys. But during that week, getting ready, getting prepped for that week, it was hot. It was hot like it is now. For what I remember,
it was brutally hot.
It was smoking hot like it is now.
And it was miserably hot, and it was hell hot. It was just, but it was what it was. And I got to tell you, man, Baton Rouge is 80 miles from New Orleans. This is a different heat than New Orleans. I don't know if it's any different than Franklin. It seemed like this was a lot more humid, I guess, because we were closer to the river. I don't know.
It was hot.
It was hot. There's no shade around here.
Right. And the game was played in Tiger Stadium, and we practiced there every day. And it was just it was a good feel for us because we was all coming to LSU. But that game, practicing and getting ready for the game, it was a wonderful time because we all came together, and guys, we started having fun because it took about 2-3 days before we really got to start enjoying the thing. And Coach Myfouche and McCloskey are the ones who really helped us through that process.
And J.T. Curtis.
Oh yeah,
he was offensive line coach, and Jack Salter was the head coach from Covington. And these were all coaches that I guess knew us, and I think they took it as an honor to be coaching us.
As a matter of fact, you and I started on one linebacker, and you started the other linebacker.
Coach Salter said he came up to me and said, "Ippolito, I got a problem." I said, "What's the problem, coach?" He said, "They got 2 good linebackers. What am I supposed to do?" I said, "Play us both." He says, "Well," and remember, we kind of messed around with that split 40.
Oh, sure was.
And I told him, I said, "There's a way to put both of us on the field."
So you told him that?
Yeah.
Get out of here, man.
Yeah. Coach Salter, good old guy, man.
Okay,
that was Kyle Brule's head coach, remember him?
Oh, Kyle Brule.
Kyle Brule.
What's up, Kyle? I haven't heard that name.
I saw Kyle a few years ago. He's still looking like Kyle Brule.
I don't know if that's good or bad, dude.
Well, that he was short, stocky, but he had a smile on his face when he did it.
But we had a great time. But when that game got started, now I got to tell you about it. Who was the captain of the West defensive team?
I don't know. Was it me or you?
It was me, you.
Yeah. They asked me if I want to guess, and
I was the captain of the team. But during that game time, who was outstanding? You remember who that was outstanding? A guy named Wilford Simon.
Yeah, I remember him. Wilford went to Tulane.
Yeah, with the Tulane. He's no longer with us. Wilford transitioned quite some years ago. And he won the most valuable defensive player.
Yeah, I remember that.
Although we lost, but why did we lose? Who was the running back for the East team? We could not stop him.
Is that okay?
No, for the East. The guy who went to Louisiana Tech, and he drowned. He got drafted by Kansas City. What was his name again? Small. I can't remember his name. He's gonna be.
See, if you told me we were going to talk about it.
Well, I wouldn't. Just coming to me as I'm thinking about it. But he drowned the next year, saving 2 young children.
I remember the story, but I can't remember who it was.
And he ran circles around us. We could not. Wilford Simon was the one who helped us because he kept getting behind the line of scrimmage to slow him down.
He ran around envelope.
Yeah.
He was fast. Yeah, we couldn't contain him.
His name will come too, but he was one of the best running backs and got drafted to Kansas City Chiefs. And when his first year was outstanding. Came home that summer and he drowned. He was up there around North Louisiana. He drowned that summer. And but he was a really good guy. No, he was from North Louisiana. He was around what's it called that? I can't remember that town up there. Not Monroe, but he went like around Dale Hyde. I can't remember the name of the area. But he was what they call Mark. Name escaped. But anyway, we showed up there, and that was the start because we was together every day.
Right.
We was practicing every day, so we got to know each other. We got to have fun. And now we lost the game because we couldn't stop. Man, I can't remember the name.
Couldn't stop him.
Couldn't stop him.
And you know what the sad part about it is I remember LSU coaches were like on the sidelines.
Right.
Remember they were all watching us. These guys are going to rescind that offer.
But look, they wish they would have offered him too because he was the best player. He got the most valuable offense in high school in that game. He got the most valuable offensive player.
Yeah, there was so much talent on that field that night, man.
I got to think of the name. I'm gonna come up with the name. But anyway, so we had a great time. Now a month or so later, we show up and we are Tigers. That's a whole nother experience about to take place.
A different world or in a different ball.
Yeah, there was a whole other thing about to happen here. And what was that experience like for you? Let's talk about your experience when you ride to LSU.
Dude, it was one of the best experiences of my life. It was a scary one. I mean, I was a very, Catholic Italian boy. My family kept tight reins over us because we were always getting in some kind of trouble.
But your boys.
All of a sudden overnight, I go to Baton Rouge and I'm on a football team. And
you're on your own?
And I'm on my own and I'm making my own decisions. And I remember the first day of class, man, I was late for class because I couldn't figure out what to wear. It was the first time in my life I went to school without a uniform.
So it became complicated, huh?
It was very complicated. I didn't know whether to wear jeans or shorts. I didn't know what was allowed. And everybody was like, just put something on. And man, when I go to my first class, I got people in their pajamas in the class, man.
What's the big deal?
Well, I was in a Catholic grammar school, and then I went to a Catholic high school. Grammar school, they had nuns that, checked their uniforms every day. And they brought them up. We had a bunch of brothers.
But also, I'm gonna let everybody know he was one of those what you call it? What kind of wise guy? That's what you call a wise guy?
I don't know anything about him.
he always had a habit of want to crack jokes on people, right? He always had something to say. Always ease up to you.
Yeah, you misunderstand. You call it being a wise guy. I just call it, I stand my ground, man.
Yeah, he always had something to walk up to you. He gonna whisper something in your ear, something crazy. And you say, "Oh, that's Mark. Don't worry about it." And but we was under a great coach, Coach Charlie McClendon, better known as Coach Matt.
Coach Matt was my head coach, and at that time I was recruited to be a linebacker, and Coach Hamlin was my.
Coach Hamlin was both our coaches.
Coach Hamlin was the nicest guy.
Oh man, class. Just wouldn't holler at nobody, wouldn't raise his voice.
Backers, come over here.
He just, it was just interesting to kind of when you think about him. But unfortunately, I mean, I got moved from there.
Yeah, I got moved too.
We both got moved. We came there as linebackers, but we ended up playing D-line.
Yeah, we ended up playing D-line. I was thinking about that this morning. I transitioned to the defensive line. Okay, well, I kind of learned a little bit of everything, and I remember Georgia Tia.
Big Joe.
George's nose guard. We're playing in Alabama in Tiger Stadium. This is the game. I think they won 6-3.
Ooh,
you remember that game?
Yeah, that was our senior year.
No, that was like our sophomore year.
That was sophomore?
Sophomore or junior?
No, our junior year.
Yeah, maybe it was our junior year.
It was our senior year we played there.
So Atia gets hurt really kind of early in the ball game, and so I think he put Ivan Phillips in, and then Ivan got hurt, and he looked at me. He said, "Can you do that?" I said, "Yeah, why not?" And if you're running the ball 80% of the time, and you're running the damn wishbone, I got hit by the guard in the center, either one of the guards, and the fullback on every play. Right? So I'm trying to figure out if the fullback has the ball or not. And man, I was like, man, no wonder why Tia got hurt.
They got you figured out what's going on.
Dude, that was a brutal position to play. I'm telling you, it was like a freight train. His name was Steve Krause.
Steve Krause.
And man, that sucker would hit you like he had. Like I didn't know if he had the ball or not. I just knew I was getting a play.
And you can't, because he's so low, you don't know if he got the ball, and you can't take a chance.
No, I tackled him anyway.
You got to tackle him. So you out of the play.
But I'm getting hit by 3 guys.
But what's the point?
The point is 3 calls against 1 call, you know?
So that's part of the game, man.
But no, I was a transitional line, and then I played a little bit of tackle and whatever. I mean, look, I didn't really care what I played as long as they threw me in the game.
Right. Yeah,
Remember the first thing I did at LSU, Coach Mack put me on a kickoff team.
Oh, no. They put everybody on kickoff
And
team.
they were playing Rice. Man, I ran down that field as fast as I could, as straight up and down as I could, and somebody bumped my head. And when I fell, my head was the first thing to hit the ground. And I was very embarrassed. So I come off the field, and I'm coming off around like the 10. You know, and I want to get behind everybody. And Coach Mack sees me, you know, and he grabs you under your, right below your elbow, you know, he says, "Hey, buddy, welcome to the SEC. I never want to see that happen again." Yes, sir.
So look, you got to worry about that. I'm going to put your hand up. That happened to me against Mississippi State. You know, I done took off downfield, and I think I got a wide open shot. They set me up, right? Let you get right past them. And all of a sudden, he hit me in my chest. Because when I turned to go towards the carrier, and of course your head hit the ground first.
Right.
And you jump up off the ground because you're embarrassed, right?
It's the most embarrassing thing because they play that play on that film back 10 times.
Yeah, we got it. Look, we got it. So you coach everybody. So
this is everything not to do here.
But look, you can't even coach that way anymore now.
No, you can't hit like that.
You can't even hit like that.
You know, I was having lunch with our friend, and you take a team, our team, like that all-star team, and you put that all-star team on the field with the 2022 high school all-star team. Our team would kill it. I mean, you can't hit like that. We get thrown out of the game.
You can't use the word kill no more.
No, you can't. Yeah, you can't curse at nobody.
You can't say knock
You
dead.
can't talk to the referee. You know, back when we were playing, there was a lot of trash talking going on.
You know, I wonder when I think about this, or they changed the game because female, or is to pull a female in now because females don't like that. They like the contact, don't like the brutalness, brutality. And you know, it's about marketing now. I mean, yes, people, you don't want to get players hurt. That's
I understand,
serious.
but it's a accepted fact that you're playing football, a contact sport, you know. And if you don't want to get hurt, you should probably not be playing football.
You can play with soccer,
play soccer, volleyball, or something else like that. But you know, we were taught to hit with our heads in the numbers, and he could be running in one direction and make one move, and he's going in a 90-degree other direction.
I mean, but they had two of the best running backs in the country, him and Marcus Allen.
Yeah,
Right?
Marcus Allen goes.
And he was blocking for Charles White at the time.
And Brad Budd was another one of the offensive line. He's a big white guy. When he hit me, he knocked the sweat off me. And I was trying out for an NFL team once, and I got hit by another guy that hard. And it was the 2 hardest hits I've ever gotten, where the sweat got knocked off. I mean, I saw the sweat come off.
Now look, fast forward. I was when I got drafted in Atlanta, we played in the Hall of Fame Bowl against the Cleveland Browns. And the running back was Charles White. So, you know, we had a little history together. Now I made this big power move. I'm on the outside, so I make this power move, which is called a swim technique.
Right.
Where I'm gonna go over Charles and leave him standing. Charles hit me in my chest so hard. Well, you know, all that
swimming, you would drown.
all the air leave you,
Yeah.
and you can't suck up no air from nowhere. That's what happened that day. I mean, Charles hit me so hard in my chest. Like, God, man, come on now. 2 years later, I'm gonna come against you, and you're gonna treat me like this. They beat me bad. They beat me the last time.
At least he was consistent. Right?
Yeah, he was consistent now. But that game in Tiger Stadium, we got to talk about that because that was the experience of a lifetime.
I think that was the biggest crowd Tiger Stadium ever saw to that day. Of course, you know, the stadium's bigger now, and they got bigger crowds. I remember Jim Henderson asked, the Channel 4 asked a couple questions after the game, and he said, what was it like on the field? He said, probably the safest place in Baton Rouge was on the field. Because could you imagine all those people in the stands that were going on?
the first, I would say 20, 30 minutes of the game, we could not hear nothing.
No.
You couldn't tell a player nothing because we just had to punch.
Remember, we used to have to yell across the field
Right.
when they would set up in their formations
Right.
and everything. And you would think you could yell 5 guys away, right? And you couldn't communicate.
Your sound just dropped.
Oh, you saw somebody.
Yeah, and you kind of like, you do it. So the first 20, 30 minutes, we just can't hear you. But all of a sudden, something happened. Because the sound of the crowd was so overwhelming, just so loud, but we shut the crowd out.
Yeah, that was one of the first games I remember not paying attention to the crowd. You had to figure out there was a way to shut them out, like you say. There was a couple games that year. The Alabama game was one of them.
Oh, sure was, right.
When we went to Wake Forest.
So we played Wake Forest in our bowl game.
That was we played Missouri, man.
No, we played.
We went to Liberty Bowl.
Liberty Bowl. We played.
That was Missouri.
Missouri. We played Missouri Liberty.
That was a pretty loud crowd.
Oh yeah, but the SC, USC. I mean, where we had to. That was an interesting thing because I got after some interviews after the game. We did some interviews. You explained it to the media how they said it was the loudest crowd in Death Valley. What was it like? I said, in the beginning, we couldn't talk we couldn't communicate, we couldn't say that to each other. We were just pointing and directing people by our hands, or just kind of giving the best signals we could. But after 20, 30 minutes, we silenced the crowd in your mind. That's how powerful the mind is when we think about it.
I agree with that.
Because we shut the crowd down, we was able to talk to each other on the field.
Well, we got into the game.
We got into the game.
And that's when, look, I think USC was in trouble from the first kickoff. We were ready. Our coaches did a good job. That we were focused.
Yeah,
And I remember that big number one. They're going to come in. Coach Mack said they're coming in to beat your butts and kick your ass.
because they beat, I think, Tennessee or
Yeah,
somebody.
and they were the number one team. And John Robinson at the time was their coach.
Coach John
He
Robinson,
made some
right.
comments that they were going to go down at the ocean and come back.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to some of the players. We were supposed to have that interconference thing after the game, but because of what went on during the game, Coach Robinson said, "We're not doing that. We're leaving." And they did. They got cleaned up. They got on the bus, went to the airport, and took off.
Because they won by the skin of their chin. Like
Yeah,
they
they got out of town. They took that victory with them. And
Because
then
of-
again, and poor Benji Thibodeau got blamed for some face mask, and I guarantee you.
No, but really, Demetri Williams got blamed for. Demetri made the sack.
Dimitri got the sack, but somehow or another they threw a flag on Benji.
I thought it was Demetri.
Either one.
Yeah, but Benji. We watch the video. We saw it was Benji.
But you look at that play.
Yeah, the hand just kept it going.
Yeah, it never hit his own.
Yeah. I mean, it just kind of, his hand, you reach, but the hand just kept going. He didn't grab nothing or anything like that. And it was a sack. The ball turned over to us.
We run the clock out.
We run the clock out. And matter of fact, we was leading 12-3 right before that. And they drove the ball. They came and drove down. Charles White scored, from like 4 or 5 yards. I can't remember that now. But we came back. Now, we had the ball. We turned it back over to them. They moved the ball probably down on. They was right over our 50. Huh?
That was a third down play right around the 30 yard line.
Okay.
And the penalty gave them, I think, put them on the 15. And then it was an easy 12
Yeah, because with that play, with that sack, Demetri, it was over with. But we take the ball, we run the clock out.
Yeah, it was a third down.
We would win 12-10.
Right.
I think it goes 12-10 at the time. But now the ball's still alive, and they got a chance to drive. And a few plays later, I think they threw the ball.
No, I remember
Run a 4-yard run, by Charles White. The game was over with. But yes, dear, we knew that we can play on the level that we need to continue to play to compete in the SEC that year.
That particular team had more talent on it, and I think that game proved to us that whether you were there or your backup or somebody else on the team, we had enough depth and didn't really have to worry about one or two particular guys. We had enough players, we could just step up and play.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that as a fact because I think we played in Ole Miss and Jackson, and we rotated a bunch of guys out, and we smoked them.
Yeah, because that's that year. We'd already beat them twice in a row. So what's your homeboy name from where's the quarterback, John Fourcade?
He's complaining that we were hurting him. He said, he told the ref, he said, they hit me too hard, right?
And also, John played in the high school all-star game with us. He was our quarterback.
Yeah. I thought Marcus was on.
Yeah, both of them were. Right?
That's right. Yeah. But you know, Stovall took me on a trip to recruit. Me, Bruce Hemphill, and Jerry Stovall went to Fourcade's house to try to recruit him to come to LSU. And it was a really strange thing for me to be involved in recruiting, especially John Fourcade. I played against him in high school. I never liked him in high school. But we go to the house and, you know, we mix him with the mom and dad and everything. Next thing you know, John and I walk off. He said, tell me the truth, what's up? I said, I heard you got offered a lot of money from Ole Miss, man. And back in the days when we used to talk, I don't
know nothing about that, but I heard about it.
Yeah, this is what I heard.
Yeah.
So I said, he said, yeah, he said, I don't think anybody else can match Ole Miss's deal. I said, good for you. And on the way home, Stovall's, I'm sitting in the back seat, dude, I'm sitting like so close to the door to get out. I mean, I was in a comfortable ride. He says, I want to know word for word what you guys talked about when y'all walked off. And I'm like, well, word for word. I mean, let me just tell you what I said. I don't think he's coming to LSU. He says, no, that's not what I said. I want to know word for word. I'm like, Coach, it doesn't matter if it's word for word. He's not making it to LSU. He's got a good deal. And he says, well, did he give you anything you can use and we could call the NCAA? I said, no, man, he didn't give me that. You know what I mean? So he went to Ole Miss and we just took our pleasure in knocking the world off.
Beat a 4 straight.
That's it.
But I got to give John some credit. Our senior year, under Stovall was our senior year. We beat them. It was a good game. Mm-hmm. He ran over there to me. He said, man, I really enjoyed playing you. He said, well, you was always a tough one every game, every year we played you. And he said, my hat's off to you. So for him to take the time to come and, make that kind of statement to me meant a lot.
John's a good guy. We did that in high school. We were always, when I was at Bellamont and him and at Shaw, part of the Catholic League thing, the competitiveness was off the chart.
Well, you and him was the 2 top players coming out of.
I was a year ahead of him.
Oh, he was a year ahead of him.
Yeah.
Oh, okay then.
Yeah, and
but he didn't play in the high school all-star game. Yeah, he did.
I'm telling you, he wasn't on our team. Malfus was our quarterback.
Yeah, Robert was our quarterback.
He was a year under us.
A year under us. He came out the next year.
Right.
So we played in 3 years then.
Right.
Okay then. Okay, I got that wrong.
No, we went to Jackson. Remember they played in Jackson? Oh, no, we played one game in that.
We played with that.
Yeah. You remember they put a big block of ice, right? And then behind the block of ice was a fan. And I'm looking at it. I didn't do good in science class, but I know the wind ain't good getting through that ice to cool.
The ice should have been behind the fan.
Well, something, but I mean, it drove a hole through the ice. But it was not like I'm like, it's a good thing we didn't come to Ole Miss.
But John personally, on his own, took Ole Miss to a whole nother level. But Robbie Mahfouz, who really we enjoyed playing with Robbie. He was a good guy, class guy, good looking young man. But he never got a shot.
Bob Lane.
Oh, Bob, and just
he was a quarterback for the other side.
Yeah. Bob played with the East.
Right.
That's who played with the East. That's right.
Against.
And he was an LSU guy coming to LSU too.
But Bob was a great quarterback.
So Bob, we had Bob and Rob, who both was coming to LSU that year, and neither one of them both of them ended up leaving.
Yeah.
I think Bob was left his junior. Both of them left.
Bob left his sophomore year, and I think Robbie stayed until his junior year.
Right.
Oh, excuse me. Bob hurt his knee and got a knee infection. He never was right after that.
Right, yeah. He and his brother Cliff Lane, who was a tight end, really good guy. Yeah, so it was interesting to get to know all these different guys. Now let's go back to your high school days. Now you was a terror in high school at Brother Martin.
Well, you say terror, I say leader.
a leader of the terrorism.
Well, I mean, you know, again, the Catholic leader is very competitive, man, and you had to make your mark. We played some teams and some players, and you know, if New Orleans had one school that all these guys could go to, the state championship would live in New Orleans.
Oh, yeah.
But because the 7 Catholic schools thinned that recruiting pool out, you got good teams, but just imagine if you had all those guys on one team. It'd be strong.
Yeah, it's a college team. That's what you're saying.
Exactly. And New Orleans put out some great athletes.
Well, y'all had Tulane. Why y'all didn't go to Tulane?
Tulane wasn't LSU, brother. You know, I thought about Tulane a lot, but man, I just couldn't compare Tulane and LSU. I mean, there was no comparison.
No comparison.
No, I mean, you came up here, you see this campus, and this place. Look, I just took a motorcycle ride. I ended up in Tuscaloosa.
Well, you sent to that picture.
Yeah, I sent you a picture of me right in front of the stadium. I was throwing my L out. But, you know, when I went there for a recruiting trip, it was really kind of a dinky low college. Older buildings and everything. It really looks good now. They put money back into it. The stadium's huge.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's now. Back then, it wasn't like that. And back then, they took me on a recruiting trip and they wanted me to go hunt. I'm like, oh, I'm a white boy from New Orleans. I'm a hunt. You know,
now you was one of the what do you call it, one of the most seek out players in the college in high school history back then, right? So you went to visit a lot of different. Back then you didn't have no limits, right?
No. We had 6 school limits.
6 school limits.
I took 6 trips.
Where you went to?
Oklahoma, Alabama, Ole Miss, LSU, Tulane, and I can't remember what no 6. But I got recruited all over. And I mean, there was no real. Oh, I knew. I really was thinking Oklahoma or Alabama because they were winning the national championship back then.
Right.
It was Bear Bryant recruited me directly, and Barry Switzer recruited me directly. They came to my house, ate dinner, my family fed them. I got to know both of those guys, and I could have played for either one of them. I got to tell you, back then, you remember the year-round Tiger Booster Club, the Jack Sirio, the Dr. Jack Andoni, the Harold Pelias, Jim Russell, Augie Cross.
Augie Cross, I remember that name.
All those guys. Yeah. If it wasn't for all of those guys, I probably would not have chose LSU. But those guys, you know, Coach Mack said something to me one day on a recruiting trip, and I'm 18 years old, right? So I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer.
Yeah, we're 65 years old, ain't much change.
I'm still not the sharpest knife in the drawer.
Okay.
You know, they say with age comes wisdom. I'm waiting to get wise.
We just keep on alive.
Yeah, I'm still not wise. So Coach Mack says, okay, what you gonna do after your college days are over? Where you gonna live? What are you gonna do? And at the time, I'm working at a little gas station in New Orleans.
Oh, you was working?
Yeah, I was working with Mr. Val.
No. You reported to a job site. You wasn't working.
No, I really did work.
You was working?
This man worked me, man. He was a Val Shirk. He was a great guy. Val's Tire and Supply. But he made me work, man. He made me mop floors and everything. And he was a military guy.
Oh, yeah. He
So
didn't play
getting away with that.
Yeah, he didn't play.
But he was also a great man. Helped me. I worked with a couple of guys over there, and it was just like family. I mean, but anyway, so Max says, what are you going to do after college? Where are you going to live? I'm like, well, probably New Orleans. He says, do you want to come back to New Orleans and be remembered for the kid that left and played for another school, or a kid that played for your home state school? And I remember him saying, I was like, man, that's true. And man, that really hit me. And at the time, we had a guy at Brother Martin named Gary Oza that went to Alabama. And everybody said, oh man, he went to Alabama. You know,
They left it like that.
right. And it was really not they didn't say it in a good way, you know? So I just figured, you know, I already got this extended family with all these LSU booster guys. I might as well just do LSU. But again, LSU, if you remember our recruiting class, dude, that we had like 40 blue chippers on that.
Oh man, we had some players. So
And I'm thinking, I'm looking at it as a player. I'm like, God damn, if I'm on a team with all these guys, we're gonna be pretty good.
Because remember, I came out of the country, right, where we didn't have access to a lot of stuff, you know. So you don't really know your name. Robert Mafuji, I played in the same district. People like that. Those high-profile people. Mark Ippolito, your name just was in all the papers. At one time, everything was local. Your paper was local. You know. So you only reading about the people in your area, your district. It's just that when it came to recruiting time, of everybody hearing about it. Because, man, you got 6'4", 230, 235 linebacker, you know, Brother Martin. I didn't even know nothing about Brother Martin. I just knew about Brother Martin because of hearing your name.
Right.
So that's kind of what I knew. So I didn't know that they, you know, my recruiting, I didn't go on a lot of trips. I mean, I said that wrong. I had a lot of trips, but a lot of to small schools. I didn't go to the Alabama or Oklahoma. I received maybe a letter, but that's as far as that went, right? So I didn't have that recruiting experience. I had the recruiting experience. It was good because I went to different ULL, Tulane, and you know Nicholls State, which I really favored Nicholls State because my first cousin Ray Johnson was over there. So we grew up together. So that's basically all I knew. They, like you, they had to talk me into going to LSU. And they came and talked about mom and dad first, right?
Right.
And told them about, well, you know, you might need to consider going to LSU. And I'm like, why? You know, I'm not going to play over there. Then I came to recruit. I'm looking at all these big old boys over here like, man, I don't know about this. I can't fit in that.
You agree with that?
Oh yeah, he worked with it. He gave us this.
He was always,
Because once you get in there, you want to be a part of the team. You want to compete.
and he had a way about him with the fellas, and I'm telling you, boy, he would grab you right above your elbow and pull you down.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah. And he had a way about him, and then but you saw all of these other players that, I mean, the man basically walked on water as far as they were concerned. So you saw this level of respect, and I wanted to be a part of that. And then they go fire him because he's got a 78% winning average, and he can't
Can't
beat the bear.
Can't beat the bear.
Well, tell me, who was beating the bear back then?
He was like Sable.
What was that damn athletic director's name?
They brought in Paul Deezer.
Yeah, that was when they got rid of the guy before him and brought Deezer.
Massa?
No, Paul.
Paul.
He was publication.
Publication, yeah.
Publicity. But there was a guy, and so Diesel comes in, and I don't know who had the bright idea to fire Coach Mack. They were only paying him $60,000 a year.
Well, that's why they brought in Paul Deezer to get rid of him.
And I think what happened when they got rid of Mack, they wanted to change the LSU football structure.
It was time to take it to another level, I guess.
Yes. So
I said it was going another direction at the time.
Yes, I wanted to play for my coach that recruited me, but you know, then we went through the Bo Ryan thing. Boy, remember that?
Oh man, and most people don't realize what the players went
That
through.
was almost all had heart attacks. I mean, you know, he brought in his whole staff. Remember Coach Marilovich?
Oh yeah, that was strength coach.
guy?
Yeah, strength coach.
I mean, he was crazy, but he was a nice guy. Right?
Yeah, he got us motivated.
Right,
He really did.
And I was actually looking forward to Bo Ryan, but I think Bo Ryan was hired to change the structure or the way the LSU athlete was. You know, we were going more on a national level instead of a local level. Well, poor guy, he gets killed in that plane crash.
But do you remember how that went? Because my mind is still.
I could tell you how it went right now.
Okay.
It was yesterday.
Okay. So now tell me, what was that? Because we played against Wake Forest in the Tangerine Bowl.
Right.
We won that game. That was Coach Mack's last game he coached.
Coach Mack got fired in about mid-season, but he agreed to stay on the rest of the season. That's the kind of guy he was.
And they were still hollering, "Help Mack back."
Yeah.
That hurt. That hurt to hear.
It was bad to go from a game like USC to another game in Tiger Stadium would help Mac.
Help MacPac. Yeah,
You know, that's-
yeah. That was. It took me a while to figure out what they were saying, right?
Yeah.
Then when I finally realized what they were saying, I'm thinking, what kind of stuff is this?
No, I mean, I'm trying not to curse right here, but it's really pretty damn bad.
Yeah, because we had players like, at first we thinking you chant, because we almost beat USC, right?
I'm trying to tell you.
So now we getting ready for this next game, we playing and.
You compare us, that game we played against USC, and then a couple weeks later we help in MacPac.
Yeah, but did you realize what they were saying in the stands?
Not in the beginning, because I never paid attention to it.
Right.
We were taught to not pay attention,
Right,
and all of a sudden some of the guys on the sideline said, "Man, they're saying help MacPac."
No, why would you be saying that?
And all of a sudden you listen and say, sure enough, that's what they're
And then it grabbed your attention as players, like, and you're thinking, the fans are really saying this? What this about? What's going on? You know?
So that puts us in a position where we got to deal with coaching change.
Our senior year.
Going in,
Going our junior year, going into our junior year. I know, it was our junior year going into our senior season.
Right. So we got to absorb this coaching change. And of course, I think Bo Ryan really would have been a good guy. I think he was.
Came out of Carolina.
North Carolina. And he was on a recruiting trip. Lightning hit his plane. It decompressed. Everybody died, and they flew out over the Atlantic. And
That's the story.
Yeah, that's the story.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, my dad woke me up. I was at home. Woke me up early that morning. He said, "I don't know what's going on. You better get up to Baton Rouge because something's happening to your coach. They think he's going to die."
No, matter of fact, we was home for the, what do you call that? Christmas break.
Yeah.
Home for the Christmas break. And I think they called all of us to come to have a meeting.
We were already working out with Coach Morello.
We was all, so they called us. We supposed to be meeting with Bo Ryan that day.
That's right. That day.
We supposed to be meeting with him. So
he was on his way to Baton.
Yeah. So he's coming into Baton Rouge to have a meeting for the first time with his new team, because we had never met him. We'd never met him. We just knew Marinovich.
We knew all his staff.
But we didn't know nobody else. So we probably got there a day or two before that, right?
Well, I was still in New Orleans.
You
I was still in New Orleans to the last minute. I was going to drive up that
you did back then, you could wait till the last minute.
Yeah. So that's what my dad came in and woke me up and said, "You better get up to school."
Yeah.
And then everybody in the coach's office was in the stadium back then, so we were all out there.
Yeah. So that day, we sitting there waiting. What I recollect, we were sitting there waiting, for him. Then they said, "Well, give us another hour. He's on his way." Blah blah blah. So we kind of hang around. Then they tell us to go after next time. They say, "Well, y'all go on back to the dorm. We gonna call a meeting." Because it's still, it's maybe about 3 o'clock at that time.
Yeah, but the rumors started about the plane and all this other stuff.
Right.
Because I remember Jim Henderson, the channel, came up to me and he said, "Did you hear?" I said, "Hear what?" He says, 2 jets were scrambled to intercept his jet. And it's flying out of control.
Yeah, flying out of control over the Atlantic
Ocean, and it doesn't seem like anybody's alive to turn. They're going to run out of fuel and they're going to crash.
Right.
Okay. His body's never been recovered either.
Nobody.
Nobody in the plane. Anyway, so he says, Jim Henderson says, he says, "Man, what do you guys think about like Jerry Stilloff stepping down from his athletic director position? Remember, he was an assistant AD."
Mm-hmm.
And coaching the team. I said, "Man, you can't ask me that question." This is why I said, "Because you ain't gonna like the answer."
What was the answer?
The answer was, "That'd be horrible, man." Because we had him as an assistant coach.
Okay.
And sure enough, man, they announced Jerry Stovall, and I remember that spring game. And Pete Jenkins was on the line. You remember I was going both ways, so I mean, we go both ways. Who do I play for?
You were still that was a tough spring for you.
Yeah, Jake and Coach Pete Jenkins said he's trying to get rid of you. Why? I mean, what did I do? He said, "You don't fit into his plan."
Oh.
So he said, "Just don't do nothing stupid." So anyway, it was just.
But it came. I'm gonna tell you what happened the next day. The next day, Coach Paul Deason called Hokie and I into for a meeting because we was possibly going to be the team captains, the offense and defense. So Hoke and I go meet with him. Same thing. What y'all think about Coach Stovall? Hoke and I looked at each other like, okay, what you mean? Well, it would be good if y'all have somebody already in-house, because we done lost one coach. It's a process of getting another coach. Coach Stovall is here. Y'all know him. He know you all. The players are very familiar with him. He can hit the ground running. And maybe we need you guys to encourage other players to make sure,
sell his bad idea to everybody else. I get it.
Oh, if I don't about no bad ideas, and we thinking, well, all the guys love and respect Coach Stovall, but they're not looking at him as being the head coach. That's not what because it was more of the religious stuff at that time, And people like these guys don't want to be, because they knew if Stovall took over, what's going to happen? You got to be here. You got to do this, do that, the way he wants you to do it. And none of the guys wanted to be part of that. That's what I remember.
Yeah, well, he was really strong discipline. Look, give the man credit. He was an All-American runner-up, Heisman Trophy, blah, blah, blah. He played in the St. Louis Cardinals. He had a great football career. But I remember him as an assistant coach when he was coaching the backs. And I was nowhere near him. But I didn't like what was going on over there. And I was over there with Coach Hanley and Coach LeBlanc. But he would discipline us and say things that we just, like you need to find God and you need to spend some time. You need to be a Baptist. I don't know anything about that because my parents raised me a Catholic. I'm Italian. And, I can't help you with that.
So you felt a lot of that, his personal
he wanted everybody
views and perspective.
Yeah, he pushed his personal.
And it was overwhelming at that time.
I think it was overwhelming, it was not necessary. That's not what we were there. That's not what we were there for.
It was a display.
We were there to be student athletes, and if your mom wanted you to be a Baptist, your mom would have taken you to Baptist church, right? And I was Catholic. I went to Catholic ground school and high school. I'm telling you, the most confusing day of my life was my first day at LSU. I didn't know what to wear. I wanted to go get my uniform.
Now, so Hoke and I, on behalf of Paul Deason, and we became the defensive and offensive captains our senior year, right? Because that meeting we had with Paul Deason, what we call that? Under some strong encouragement,
Right.
we decided to go ahead on because he sold, like I said, we players, and he sold it to us. Paul Deason, who was the AD at the time, sold it to us, and so we went out there. We had to go kind of like sing his praise, look, man. Like, what about us rallying around Coach Stovall, and for becoming the next LSU head coach. And we ain't got to, go through this whole thing, wait for another coach to come in, because it could take another month or so. Right? And the staff is already here. They probably gonna just take on the staff he got. So that's kind of what's our way they told it to us. So we told it to the players, and because a lot of players, they wasn't much.
That was a tough stuff.
It was a tough sale. It was a tough
it
sale.
was.
Because they knew Stovall.
And nothing, we had Bo Ryan that we were conditioned, okay? And Bo Ryan had a pretty good record. For no fault of anybody else, poor man died, okay? So we go from a Charlie Mack to Bo Ryan to Jerry Stovall. See what I did there?
You can get it on video.
But you had Mack and Ryan being parallel, and Stovall, nobody believed it.
But you never been a head coach.
Never been a head coach.
So now you're gonna take over the reins of afterwards. A great Charlie McClendon So, but we went, Coach and I, on behalf of Paul Deason and Coach, Coach Jerry Storr, I want you to know to this day, Coach and I fought to get you the head coaching job. Well, you have no clue, right? Because we was in there doing that. You don't remember that. We just kind of met with the different guys, they encouraged them, and selling them, well, look, get Stovall in there, them guys, man. Stovall gonna make us get up early in the morning, Stovall gonna make us go to class every week, every day, which is a good thing now.
No, it's a good thing, but you gotta put, we are, what, 18, 19, 20 years old at the time. And that's what you're doing.
Who don't want that type of, they just left home, they don't want that type of discipline, right?
You know, the way it was with Mac, if you kind of did your thing and you stayed out of trouble, you could cruise through, right?
Right. He wouldn't be gonna mess with you.
He wouldn't. There was no reason to mess with him. But Stovall didn't look like that. Stovall messed with you because he wanted you to be better.
Which was a good thing.
It was, looking back on it. But that's the kind of guy he was. He was very high strung.
Yeah, he wanted to make everybody better. And matter of fact, he pushed the player. But I mean, now you told me that was a meeting y'all had where he had just with you all. What happened with that
There's a
meeting?
handful of guys. He dismisses black guys. I hate saying that. Anyway, he said, fellas, y'all better get ready. They come. Who's coming? He said, the black guys are big and strong and fast. Are you kidding me? You know, and really, for him to do that kind of crap on a football team I was on, I never saw a couple. Dude, you and me have been friends for over 40 years. Do you know me to be any other than
just a hothead, that's all. And an a-hole sometimes.
There you go, and I'll take that. But you know, on any football team I played on, there was no color. There was just talent. You were a very talented football player. I noticed that first time I met you. I understood that. And I respected you, and I still respect you to this day. But for him to kind of single out a couple of white guys and threaten us with the black guys, in my opinion.
That's what it felt.
Yeah, and it was really wrong. And you shouldn't do that in business. You shouldn't do that in anything, you know. And he did it, and I don't think he did it maliciously. I just think he was trying to give us a heads up
and motivate you. That wasn't a good way to motivate.
I didn't really see it that way. Maybe I shouldn't try it. But no, I thought that was very divisive.
Nah, that spring for you was traumatic.
It was a bad spring.
I mean, for a lot of other people too. Not just Mark Ippolito.
He started thinning out
guys.
Yeah. He didn't want certain people on the team.
And we couldn't. We didn't see it coming at first, right? We kind of saw few things happening, you know, few people getting pushed to the side, few people getting overlooked. But we just thinking that some people might have had a little injury, so they might have had to sit out the next thing you know, 2 days, 3 days. So we started. Then it came time for what we call that again, JV. So then we start seeing people, juniors and seniors,
playing on JV.
On JV team. And that's a hurting thing, right? That was that's a slap in the face to a player. So we started seeing those things. Now the conversation goes to another level because you see something happening that you know that's affecting the team and affecting a lot of players. So you was one of those people.
Right.
So tell me what that was like. What that was like.
Well, you know, I went from being one of the popular, and I just did what I did, man. I tried to play. I tried to do everything the right way. And then Stovall started, you know, putting me in different positions. And I remember that spring game, I played on both teams. Now, you remember we used to have the steak and a hot dog thing after?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to figure out, damn, the only upside to this is I might be able to eat steak even if I lose, you know? But Pete Jenkins was standing on the line, and Pete told me, he says, you know, he wants you off the team, so don't give him a reason. And I'm like, why would you say that? You know, what? And that was Pete Jenkins.
He found a need to share that with you.
Right, that was Pete Jenkins' best advice. And I took it, and I never really did anything. But, you know, I never played my senior year. So
we had people like Macduff, Charles Macduff, who was a senior and had to play on the JV team.
right. And he was taking people's scholarships away. You know, Bob Lane got hurt in practice. Bob Lane never played football again because Bob got a real bad knee infection and everything. But Bob was like a trainer, remember? And they kept him on scholarship so he could get his education. That was max commitment to his parents. Soon Stovall took over there, took a scholarship away. You know, and we were like, it's not fair. But look, I get it. Then again, it's 45 years ago. It's history. I've moved on. I made my peace with Coach Stovall. As you all know, you saw me a couple months ago. I talked to him, and I took a picture with him.
Oh, I gotta go look for that picture.
I took a picture with him.
So up until recently, you was affected and still bothered by
I
that
carried a grudge
for many
for a
years.
long time. And because of some personal things that I've been going through in the last 10 years, I've decided that I can't carry this around with me anymore. So when I have the opportunity, I make peace with these people. I make peace with Coach LeBlanc. So I ran into Butch Knight, believe it or not. Butch works for one of my customers. And, you know, Butch, again, being the classy guy he is, he basically said, you know, when we're young, we don't do the right things, or we do things sometimes we shouldn't do. And again, making peace with all of this is the best thing for me.
Now I did not. Let me tell you what I did notice. I've noticed for quite a few years after we finished up, you didn't come around.
No.
Correct.
I was embarrassed.
Now hold on. Now.
I was embarrassed. I didn't feel welcomed. You know, there were people saying I didn't live up to my playing potential. There's all, you know what I mean? You know, why would I want to come and put myself under a negative spotlight like that?
Man, I see you taking me somewhere I'm not familiar with.
I'm just telling you.
I did not, because remember, you know, we bring up names, we don't see people. Dana Swallow, for example. I had not seen Dana Swallow left off the field the fall of our senior year, because they put everybody in front of Dana. And Stovall had, you know, moved. And Dana just took his jersey off one day and left. Had not seen Dana until 20-some years later. He showed up in Baton Rouge, and he'd been using drugs real bad, and just, you know, his life didn't move forward. Dana was one of the best guys you could meet, right? So he was affected really bad.
Again, on the All-Star team with us.
Yeah, Dana was an All-Star player, and so my sister called me one day, told me he was in town. And when I go and pick him up, no problem, I'm glad. I hadn't seen that. So when I went to get him, did not know he was been sick for years, diabetic, taking what you call it for kidneys, dialysis. And so his complexion, you know, there was a good-looking man, physically, and just a good-looking man because he was a masculine man. And he looked still big. He's just naturally a big man. But he didn't look like the Danny we all remember, his 20s. So I went and picked him up, let him hang around, started letting him hang around, let him stay with him for a little while because he was in town, didn't know what was going to happen. But he got him situated and helped him to move and get himself situated. And we'd go pick him up, do some things with him. And Dan and I were sitting there talking one day. And he started talking about LSU. And Stovall, the name he mentioned. They never recovered that day he left off the LSU football practice field in 1980. He never recovered mentally. He was downtrodden, I guess, like you say, embarrassed.
A little bit of you dies. To be honest with you, a little piece of you dies and stays there. You don't take that piece home with you. And it's really kind of, you know, a lot of athletes go through this. And think about this. We were trained like the gladiators of Rome. I mean, we were
like trained killers, basically.
Basically that.
Assassins.
And on Saturday night, we live in the highest life in the world because we got almost 100,000 people screaming for us.
We looking forward to it.
On Sunday morning, when we finished our last game, we're nobody. Now, who sends you through detox?
Ooh, man.
Who did you ever get anybody come talk to you and say, I'm a psychologist or psychiatrist. Let's talk about how you're going to assimilate into the real world. Did anybody do any of that for you?
No.
Nobody did any of that for me either, so I had to do that on my own. And I played semi-pro football for a little while.
Because you're still looking to
I
fulfill.
was looking for the high.
Yeah, because
It was a high. Whether we were sticking a needle.
It's no different. It's a drug.
That's right. We were getting
It's a dopamine that gets you. So you, even after that, you're still searching for that. You gonna prove something to
me.
To you and to Stovall.
Yeah, I wanted to go. I worked out with the Cowboys and I worked out with. That was a joke. I tried out with the Saints, but again, I played a lot of semi-pro ball. It was just. I wasn't finished. I was a very good semi-pro football player.
Well, that's your word. We'll take your word for it.
Yeah, exactly. And again, the way I'm kind of telling you, and I speak for a lot of people.
I know you do.
When you finish, right, wrong, otherwise, good, bad, otherwise, it doesn't matter. But you walk off that football field for the last time. Where are those people, or where is the program to help you assimilate back into a normal? Because you've been playing football for the last 15 years of your life, and you're only 22 years old.
And you're thinking, I'll play the next level.
Oh yeah, I'm going to go in the pros, I'm going to make a ton of money. I'm looking at this contract Paul Skeens just signed. He got a $9.5 million signing bonus. I mean, that's ridiculous. Imagine if we had the opportunity to enter into a transfer portal. What would have happened that year when Stovall got named head coach?
Oh,
there would have been nobody around here to turn the lights on for. You know what I'm saying? We talked about this once before. The kids today and what we had. You know, we lived in a dormitory together.
It was a beautiful experience.
We were family. Yeah. And if you didn't want to be a part of the family, it's because you didn't want to be. You know, I got along with everybody. I loved everybody. It was great eating in that damn dormitory. You know, it was.
Wake up in the morning, breakfast ready.
Yes.
Come back and do lunch ready.
The other night, you go got your glass of cold milk and a soft serve ice cream.
Then Chester, Chester go open the door for you, let you go get what you want.
Yeah. So these kids today, they're not experiencing that. You know, NIL, what did we get? $15 a month to do our laundry?
And that was something we had to fight to get that. No, that's what most people got. You got money for that. So you
again, the statute of limitations is up on that.
You were one of the highest players. You were one of the highest paid players back then.
I negotiated a good deal.
Yeah. So just think what you be getting these days. Huh? Well, you'd be the richest man in college football.
You know, I wish I was born 40 years later.
You've been the richest man in college football.
But I mean, I look at what's going on today. It's crazy. I mean, it's good. And, we went to that lunch with Brian Kelly, and he explained it right. These guys are making all this money for the school, so they should be getting something. And the way LSU's got it set up, the way they divide it amongst all the players, everybody gets something.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's a good thing. And I like it, but I'm going to tell you, between the gambling, the NIL, transfer portal, I think you're going to have a problem.
But people don't consider the gambling.
the gambling's going to be.
It'll legalize the
I'm
gambling.
going to tell you something, that scares me the most, because you know and I know that there's going to be 6 or 3 or 5 or 8 guys that get together. And they're going to say, look, we can't win this game no more than 2 points. So instead of running for the end zone, they run out of points.
Now, you got to remember, when back in our days, gambling was illegal, and they were still doing some things.
You could do some things. Well, you remember Tulane's basketball team, Hot Rod Williams.
They accused Hot Rod of that. I can't say he did it.
Well, Bobby Thompson was, I knew Bobby. Bobby said they did it. So, I just don't. I think that the controls are not in place anymore. If we said gambling when we were playing, we got investigated by the NCAA.
Matter of fact, I didn't really know much about gambling until my senior year when Stovall brought us all together. There was 2 or 3 guys that hung around the team. You remember them guys? They would show up.
Yeah, they were the guys that used to take the information and they would.
Yeah, so
they would bet the line whether they would take or give.
Yeah.
Based on how
but I didn't know that. These guys was come around and joke and clown with us, and we all liked the guys. And then one day Stovall gave us some information about these guys. I'm like, well, how would I have known that? I'm not a gambler. So I don't even know. I don't gamble. But them guys would come sitting around. I remember the names. I don't want to call their names. They might not even be here.
I know a couple of their names, but I don't think I want to say it.
Yeah, I don't want to do that to them. But they would just show up and get the. And one guy kind of looked a little goofy, and he was a lot of fun. And he would come and joke with the guys, and we would just talk. And we just start bringing up stuff. Oh yeah, man. Who's Mark? He can believe it. He hurt his ankle today. He probably gonna miss a couple practices. Yeah.
That's how they figured out which way they were going to go.
Because Guess what? What players doing? We talking about what's happening because we got to get ready
The
to.
information we knew that we just talked about
Was to them, but we don't at the time.
We didn't know anything.
It wasn't until Stovall informed us at the meeting that you remember that meeting, the meeting that day about these guys, and like oh God, I didn't know that was going on.
I knew. Look, I had a couple of guys in the homes I used to want. I practiced this week. Who's hurt? What kind of players are there? What do you think? I can't be telling you all that, man. We'll go to a payphone on campus and call them.
But you're an Italian, so
So automatically I'm guilty. I'm in a mafia.
So your family, that could be part of your family.
My family worked hard.
It's hard-working people. Huh?
That's it.
But that's what
That's what everybody thought.
That's what everybody thought.
If everybody wants to think that way.
Yeah, but that's interesting though, right? Because you don't know. You watch just like you watch movies on us as slaves, right? So you watch movies on Italians as mafia.
Dude, let me get something straight. I'm only second generation American. Both sets of grandparents were immigrants. And some of them know nothing about no slavery. My parents came here, they were sharecroppers in Ascension Parish. And a lot of people, that's where New Orleans was built from, immigrants. And this whole country were all immigrants, And, I think at some point, everybody was a slave. They took advantage of the Irish people in New Orleans. They made them build the canal, the diversion canal, but fill it in. And when those poor people died, instead of having a funeral for them, they threw them off to the side and they just covered them with dirt, I mean, I don't know. I just think a lot of people make a big deal about that kind of stuff.
Because when it affects your family, it's a big deal.
I understand, but I never tried to live my life that way. And if there's anyone in the world that can attest to that fact, it's you. I've always treated you like my brother. Not anything less, and certainly not anything more. I've been as fair with you as I've been with anybody.
I appreciate that.
And again, I take that back 45 years ago, first time I met you, man. We reconnected, that was it. And as well as I try to connect with everybody. And some people were afraid of me, and some people weren't, and we just did what we did.
Well, you had that air about you. I got to go back to that now. And what was interesting for me as a player coming out of the country, right? When we, grew up with the coach, he the head coach, yes sir, no sir. Your conversation was a little bit different. Your conversation, you talking to the coach like you a coach. You talking to the coach like, well, we partners. I ain't never seen that before. You talking like to Coach Hamlin like, but I have to admire that about you. You never felt below nobody. You felt equal or even above, you know.
Well, I wanted to be equal no matter what.
So who spoke that into you to have you to think it that way?
I got to tell you, man, my head coach in high school, Bobby Collins, was over the top discipline. And when he would talk about winning, and when he would talk about playing and giving your heart, I mean, it was just, that was my first true example of being better than you're supposed to be. I had a coach when I was in, playground stuff, Coach Stone, and he was another tough coach, but to learn to be better, to strive to be better, to work harder, to give a little extra. And when I finally clicked, one day it clicked, I hit a guy a little extra harder. But man, when I did, he didn't gain that extra yard, he lost 3 yards. And so I said, shit, this is like that. But, and then getting with Georgia Tia, I helped recruit George. Jack Sirio got with me and I helped bring George to LSU. So,
is Jack Sirio still around?
No, Jack passed away right after my brother passed away. And George and I said, let's bring these guys and let's create a championship. I remember when he and I hatched that plan, we were walking on Bourbon Street.
Hold on, man. Oh no, y'all hanging together. Now, George from Pennsylvania.
George is from
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, he's from Pennsylvania. What is it? Allentown.
Allentown, Pennsylvania.
And so he was down here, and I had already committed to LSU, and he was on the fence. So I guess they thought it'd be a good idea for sticking with me for a little while. So I said, what do you want to do? He said, I want to go on Bourbon Street. Let's go to Bourbon Street. I said, man, let me take you to a nice place. No, let's go to Bourbon Street. So we did. We walked up and down Bourbon Street. He's looking at all this crazy stuff going on.
Now, you're still in high school?
Yeah, I'm a senior in high school. So I told him, I said, George, why don't you, I'd already been named to the All-Star team. I knew who was going to be playing on that. I said, man, we got like 40 legitimate blue chippers. You need to be one of them. And we need to try to bring this thing to a different level. And he agreed. He wanted to come move to the South. He was tired of playing in the cold. George had a very poor family. And living in Broussard Hall and eating 3 times a day, that was a luxury to him.
But don't let George ever miss a meal. George was a big man.
He had a couple of mom meals.
George was a big man. So
but a great guy, and Jim Russell helped him out.
So that's how y'all connected. That happened before
we started.
So I didn't know that.
Jack Sirio was a tremendous thinker, and he would put people together, and he would make you grow together before. It was a really good plan with Jack Hill, and Mike, his brother, and Mitch, his uncle, and Mr. Pelias. It was a real good plan we had, and we did. We recruited everybody. We had the raw materials to be great, man.
We had some great players. We had some great players.
And I guarantee you, whoever hatched the plan to fire Mac and bring Bo Ryan in, that was the beginning of the end of our.
Now George went through some tough time too, but George fought back. He never bowed down to what was ever happening. He continued. I would watch him, and to me, George could have been a greater player but he wouldn't listen to him. I was going to say, George, stay down.
Yeah, he wouldn't listen to nobody.
I said, George, you're the strongest player out here, but when you stand up,
yeah, you give him up.
You're the weakest. Then I got mad because then you blocking. I can't come around to make a play because you back in.
Yeah, they pushing him back by the tail by Marcus Quinn.
Yeah, he's back there. Because all thing he do is he's a wrestler. Stay low, man. And because he really would have been he was a dominant player, but the next level he would have went to if we could have just kept him, got him to stay low. But he was a good man. I mean, like I said, I remember y'all two, and I had to, by the time I became a defensive team captain, I had to assess my player, my team.
Right.
I had to kind of get to know who was who got what, who can make what happen, who can play together, who don't gel together because they might not like each other, or other issues going on. We got to win.
That's right.
It's about winning now.
The bottom line, it's like, business, you gotta be successful.
So, but now when all this stuff started happening, when people start leaving the team and some people are just removed from the team, that's a lot of dynamics going on with that. A player, young as a team, as a captain, you got to adjust to, because you got to go to these guys and motivate them when they don't see no need to be motivated. No need to be motivated. That was the toughest time I had.
Look, man, like I said, had the transfer portal been around,
That team had been empty.
we didn't have anybody on the team. I would have went and played with Nickel State.
Just to get out of
Just to
there.
get out of there and play, But because of the restraints we had on us,
With all kind of restraints.
oh
Couldn't
my God, man.
Once
Once you signed your 4-year intent, even though it was a 1-year agreement,
to them, it's a 4-year for you.
it was a 4-year agreement that being held on me, but yet at the end of every year it expired, You had to re-up your scholarship and everything. And that was the big selling point. We're gonna educate you for free,
If we didn't know if they choose to.
Yeah, well, but it's, I'm glad the guys today have a lot more rights than we had to be successful. Because I gotta tell you something, if you're not successful in college football today, it's because you don't want to. All you gotta do is hang around. Get paid.
And getting paid quite well.
You're getting paid good for being college athletes. So,
And if you're going to pay a coach $10 million,
well, think about that. I said earlier, I researched how much Coach Mack made last year.
60,000.
60 million, plus he got a little incentive for the place.
Bowl games, yeah.
But, and then this guy's getting 10 million?
A year.
Yeah. Come on, man. This is getting out of hand. But it is what it is. I can control this. This is a market that's out of control, in my opinion. Where does that stop? At some point, people are going to want to pay $300 a ticket to go see a college football game. I had 4 tickets at LSU for years. I got to a point I couldn't afford it. So,
Now you got to reflect back. That something happened your senior year in high school.
right?
Now you got to tell us this story.
Good story.
In a game y'all were playing against Senog, you got to recap that story for us.
The what?
Senog game.
It's something, probably wasn't my best moment, but we driving, and we got to, if we keep driving, we kill a clock and beat San Diego. San Diego was great back then. San Diego had some of the best athletes in the world. Coach Otis Washington, I respect Coach O. For the banquet we had for the All-Star game, my coach didn't come. Remember, you got to invite your coach out? Well, neither one of my coaches came. And Coach Washington made me sit at that table because I was sitting by myself. Now, that was a class act. And I never forget that. And man, I had a connection with that man. But, so we driving. It's third, we can't get it. So I decide I'm going to put myself in Brother Martin's offense. And Terry Sherman was the defensive tackle on the other side.
Now, hold on. You said that one more time?
I put myself in. I snuck in, told the guy I was captain of Brother Martin. And I said, because I figured if I could get us a first down, we keep the ball, we run the clock, and we win. Which is what we did. Anyway, so Terry is across the line. And I knew Terry, and I knew half of him because I grew up in Gentilly.
Now, who was Terry?
Terry Sherman, he was defensive line. And again, I had a relationship with these guys. We all kind of lived in the same area, and we would see each other. We were competitive because we went to different schools, but we still had respect for one another, which I did. Anyway, so I told Terry a couple of things I probably shouldn't have told him, and Terry came across the line and punched me. Got a personal foul. We got it first. We killed the clock. And then I got my ass chewed up because that was not how we do things at and in the Catholic League and blah, 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 blah. It's just probably wasn't one of my finest moments.
But the referee came and talked to you.
Yeah, the referee told me I need to apologize. About what?
So when the referee come tell you need to apologize.
Yeah, and then word got out, and then my coach said, what did you say? How did that happen? I got in trouble for that. I went back to Brother Martin, I got my ass chewed. What made you think you could put yourself on offense?
First of all, you already overstepped your boundaries.
I done stepped in a whole big bunch.
Okay.
Coach Conlon disciplined me. And, I mean, I looked at it like I'm winning football. Whatever we got to do, right?
Yeah, it's game day. You got to get
all
a
about
win.
winning, right? So I'm going to sacrifice myself, my body, whatever. And afterward, I did apologize to Terry. And you know what Terry said? What happened? What are you apologizing to me for? Because it was just, it wasn't,
Now you had to, how did the apology come about?
they wanted me to go to the school and apologize to the coach. And thank God I don't think either one coach they didn't want to have all that. There were a bunch of rumors and I just didn't really admit to anything. And so I did apologize to Terry and I did apologize to Coach Washington.
And what you had to apologize for?
If you think I did something to hurt your feelings, I'm sorry. You know, so and I told Coach Washington the same thing. I said, but I was just simply trying to run football. And I think they both understood. And I'm not that person. I know there's been a lot of people that have said what I said, but I did something about cutting grass and something like that.
I mean, that was pretty interesting, though, that it became a pretty big ordeal because you was Mark Ippolito.
That's right. And I made a split-second decision to help my team win a football game. Did I do the wrong thing? We won the game.
So how you measure that?
Yeah, so how do you measure that? If you think I did something wrong, I would come up to you as a man and say, hey man, I'm sorry. I deeply apologize. I think it was boys being boys, more so than anything else. And Terry went on to have a great career, I think, at Oklahoma. No, he went to Oklahoma. And, you know, I thought the world of those guys. I mean, look, Marcus and I had a good relationship.
Marcus Quinn.
Yeah. I like Marcus. Marcus was very good.
Hard worker.
Marcus was, I remember playing those Labor Day scrimmages in Tiger Stadium, and I'd watched him play. He was usually on the other defense. And man, whoever he was hitting.
Oh, he was going to hit. He was going to hit.
Dude, remember, these are young guys you hit.
I know. Marcus Quinn, cute. They call him, he's called him cute. He wanted to play.
Yeah, he did. But I appreciated his intensity. I remember I was on the field with him once. So we stack up a running back. He hit me in the back of the head. I'm like, dude,
you got to take some of the blood too. When Quinn we used to call him like a Jack Tatum, right?
Yeah, that's exactly.
I mean, because he believed in hitting. He was a nice side.
He would hit, and you remember the pop, the noise? That was the pop that all coaches would always tell you about. He would actually make that pop, man. I hear it. He'd be on the other side of the field, and I'd hear it pop.
We called him cute, but he was always upbeat. You know, he was good for other players, you know, because he knew how to motivate.
He was a good leader.
Yeah, great leader.
Look, I remember we came off the field once, and he was dizzy.
Oh no, I can tell you what game that was. That was Auburn.
Yeah.
James Wilder.
He got his bell rung.
James Wilder.
And dude, he couldn't walk straight. And I'm looking at him and I grabbed him and was like, man, you all right? This is where we at? What are we doing?
Yeah, that was, I remember that game. Matter of fact, we thought we matched up pretty good with him, right? And
yeah, we thought we matched up good with a bunch of people.
and they had Bo Jackson that same year. I don't know.
He was a
Yeah, that was they had Bo Jackson and Jay Walker.
It was Herschel.
No, Herschel played with Georgia.
That's right. Man, you know who I ran into? I went to a Christian fellow athlete thing in New Orleans, and Coach Bobby Bowden was the guest speaker. And after the thing was over, I went and talked to him and told him about the Florida State game here in Tiger Stadium. And you know what he told me? He said he hated the play guys. So loud. You guys hit so hard. I mean, he said y'all were one of the best teams on. And that was, we lost. We lost to them in Tiger Stadium. It was a Saturday afternoon.
Now who was that again?
Coach Bowden.
Bobby. Oh man. They ended up beating us a little better. The score didn't say what the game really was.
No, the game was a tough game, but they had speed.
Yeah. They had that boy, Chris Collinsworth.
No, he was from Florida.
Oh, Florida. No, you said Florida State.
Florida State. Chris Collinsworth played at
University of Florida. He was a Gator.
Yeah.
But they had, I'm talking about Bobby and I was drafting Bobby Butler. But they had, I can't remember the running back, but they had some great
Played
players.
a lot of speed.
Yeah, we didn't think we thought we was going, we really thought, we was going.
Florida State. We didn't have that SEC team.
Yeah, we thought, okay,
We thought we were playing Tulane. We lost to Tulane too that year.
Oh yeah, that year, that was a hard
Remember, Ivan Phillips was playing tackle and he was getting his ass killed. And I said, that's Andre Rubin and Mark Benedetto. Both of them went to Baltimore. I can play against them. I told Blue, I said, put me in. And he's like, all right, go see if you can do anything. And I did. I beat both of their asses and they got me a piece of the rock that night.
Because y'all played high school.
Yeah, I played high school with those guys. And I knew how they worked.
So the Catholic school, even back then, was producing top athletes, sending them all over the
Catholic
country.
school is the toughest league anywhere around. I mean, it's kind of diluted a little bit now. But, Ken Berthelot was a guy that did the sports and ones. He did a thing about the Catholic League on Channel 12. It's a really interesting set of TV shows about how strong and the athletes we put out there. But the Catholic League was a serious football league.
And they've been doing it for a long time.
It's kind of thinned out a little bit now. Back in that day.
Well, I guess when they done that, what do you call that now? When they had that change, the sector, what do you call that?
I know what you're saying. They changed up a lot because of the schools.
Yeah, I can't think of that term they call that.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, select teams.
Select A and B.
Yeah, it's like A and B. So now they removed the Catholic schools from playing certain schools.
And you see like Shaw. Shaw got tired of either going to West Jeff or City Park, so they built their own little stadium in their backyard. So Shaw plays teams that they can get to come to that stadium, like LSU last year, LSU played Southern. All right? Why does LSU play Southern last year? We never played Southern before, right? I mean, I didn't think that was a smart move, but that's because they shared the money with another university.
Right.
I get that, but what did we have to gain by beating Southern? Supposing we would have lost to Southern.
Good job.
That'd have been bad, huh?
But that's why they stopped playing too late.
That's exactly right.
Going the day before, figure right there.
We drove that day.
We drove
After
that
the game, Benji came up to me and he says, man, what you doing? I said, I'm going with my brother, man.
I'm at home.
He says, can I come? I said, yeah, whatever. We walked across the thing to Georgie Porges and sat down at the bar and started drinking, man. And Benji kept asking me, man, can you believe Tulane beat us? Yeah, man.
And beat us pretty convincingly.
Like a drunk.
They beat us that was like, and then a few years later, Tulane beat under Jerry Storm, beat them again. They had a big old fight on the field in Tiger Stadium.
But look at what Tulane did last year.
But they was dominant force last year.
Undefeated, and I'm so happy.
They weren't undefeated, but they played some great games.
No, they won everything last year. They even beat USC.
Yeah,
they went to the Rose Bowl. I was so proud of them. My insurance agent used to play for Tulane. He was an offensive lineman. And, we talk a little bit, but as long as I'm not on the field against Tulane, I like Tulane.
Well, my partner who the podcast with me, James Beckner. He's a Tulane man, so we're gonna give him a little shout out. The brother James Beckner from Tulane.
Roll wave.
Yeah, we do. So just stand up there and wave, I guess.
Roll wave is like this. It's like this.
But you know, our experience, our 40 year plus of having to know each other. Like I said, but you know, you went underground for a little while. You went what do you call it? AWOL.
Just say AOL. That's
the internet
email.
But you went AWOL for a while, but you had surfaced back.
You know, I got back when my kids were college age, and they had the Charlie Mack Scholarship Foundation. So I got involved with that, helped raise money for that. Sent both of my kids to LSU. I owned the condo in Burbank. I got reinvigorated, I guess you will.
Through the Charlie Mack.
Through the Charlie Mack.
So Charlie Mack have always been a powerful name
well,
for you.
I remember we had the Charlie Mack reunion, and I had gotten married. And it was one of the first things I came back to. It was on Florida PMAC. You were there.
I was there. I might have the picture
My
from
wife
that.
was sitting on your lap. Yeah.
don't tell people that.
I took Marty Dufresne to the bathroom because Marty's in a wheelchair. When I came back, my wife was sitting on your lap.
Well, women do that. I don't know. I can't explain that, man. And how is Marty doing?
I haven't heard from him lately, but Marty had a good career with the sheriff's office in Lafourche.
Marty, you got to give us a call. We hadn't heard from you in a while.
I'll figure out a way to get to him.
Yeah.
But, so I'm on the floor to PMAC, and I saw Coach Mack, and man, he saw me. And he looked over everybody and asked everybody to get out the way. He walked up to me and he hugged me. He bear hugged me. He said, man, how have you been?
That did a lot for you.
Oh, man. And it was, and I introduced my wife to him, and he says, you stay right here. And he put his arm around my wife and walked up and told my wife some stuff about me.
That was your first coming.
And that was the thing that made me feel like, hey, everything's okay. I'll come back.
So, because you just wait, and the embarrassment, whatever's going on in your mind is in your mind.
And it was all self-inflicted.
Right, self-inflicted. But yet still, what you said earlier, there's no one to help you process this.
Dude, I'm telling you, if anybody wanted to pay attention to anything I say, it would be this. We, and you call us mercenaries, gladiators, whatever you want to call us, but we are trained as athletes.
From a young age.
From a young age, to accept the pain, to dish out the pain, to be disciplined, to be head and shoulders above the other guy, to constantly focus on.
And you're not a normal student.
You're not nothing normal.
You're
better. You're stronger. You're faster. You're more important. Okay, and you do all this until one night you walk off that field for the last time, either knowingly, unknowingly, your terms, somebody else's terms. That's it. You, less than 12 hours later, you wake up a mere mortal. All right? How do you detox all that stuff that was brainwashed into you and drilled into you and ran into you and beat into you in some cases? How do you get rid of all of that and move forward as a normal person? I don't know about you, but I had problems.
And you're going to have more problems because you was pulled, even in that group of people, you was pulled from amongst them to be even greater.
That's what everybody wanted me to do.
But I'm saying, but
to be a leader.
Okay. So what I'm saying is that the system, we all was athletes, but the system pulled you and said you're one of the greatest players of Louisiana history.
I never saw that.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, but that's what they put in you at.
I guess, you know.
You the top recruit coming to, like, you just were the recruit. You was the top recruit
See, I never liked that.
coming to LSU.
I thought that was the target on my back.
But so mentally,
I had to live up to that reputation.
and now you gotta remember, we not thinking about that from that perspective. We just say, I just mark it, that's Mark.
I wanted to just be a regular 18-year-old and hang out with you.
No.
But you can't do that shit.
You could never, Mark Ippolito could never, from that day in the high school all-star practice, that's Mark Ippolito. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh God, and I'm looking at you a big guy, right? You would know, like, God, dog, that's a big old white boy. You know what I'm saying? That's what you 6'4", 230. That was huge back then, right? The offensive lineman was about that size. Right. So you was the size, and said, and he can run. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 4'8".
Yeah, so he can run like that. So you fascinated at the same time, but not knowing that this conversation going on now, that they put more and more weight, pressure of the world. Now you have to live up to other people's expectation. Because now you know what your mom and daddy, everybody telling them the same thing. Mark, I guess, I didn't know what you went through. I'm telling you now. That's a lot, man.
Well, and I told John A. Bradley this about detoxing this. And he said that he was going to, it was a great way to describe it. It's my way to describe it. John A. Bradley never did anything with it.
So detoxing all players, not everybody.
How do you take Danny Swallow? How do you take Lyman White? How do you take Mike Turner? How do you take Mike Johnson?
Same thing.
At the end of the day,
Mike Johnson, my homeboy, I invited him to an event a few years back. He showed up. Mike had never been to anything in almost 40 years because he felt the same way. So, but you don't know that.
but you see, I gotta apologize to him because I gave him shit too, because Ippolito I, Johnson J, he was in the locker next to me and he was yelling.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I wore him out. and I used to always tell you, so at the end of every day, I said, I'm just messing with you.
Yeah, right. After you ran off your mouth, but
I don't know. Anyway. But like Albert Richardson, I remember Albert being a great athlete.
Oh, one of the greatest. I mean, man led LSU in tackling.
And you see, I got to tell you something. I know you had an interview with Dad, and I listened to it and everything. And this is something Dad and I talk about. One day you're this great celebrity. You're this great athlete on Saturday night. And then on Sunday morning, when it's all over, you're just a fucking regular guy. He's going to say that?
You can say what you want to say.
You're just a regular goddamn guy. All right? How do you unlearn all the stuff that you learned?
That you're supposed to be doing.
Right? How do you compete? In my case, I go to a business and I'm trying to tell everybody they got to work 12 hours a day instead of 8 and get up early at 5 o'clock and let's go run a mile together. And, how do I make them understand how I operate, what makes me tick? And, I've always been a highly, highly competitive guy. And I hold myself to a high standard. But I think I've always been a fair guy.
Yeah, I would say that.
And I think I've always, I want to believe I had a good heart. And I want to believe I respected others. And, if you didn't respect me, I didn't respect you. But I gave everybody the opportunity to respect.
Yeah, that was no in between with you.
And I don't really have a gray area.
There was no in between.
I have a black area. But again, I think if I had to take an example or have anybody speak for me, I would choose you. Because if anybody knows me, you know me.
Yeah, you don't want that to happen.
I'm telling the truth. I wouldn't be afraid of anything you would have to say about me. But, and the good of all the things that we have been through is I've met people like you. And throughout the years, we haven't been in touch with each other. But, when I was going through some bad stuff 6-8 years ago, I called you. And you talked to me. And something simple as you talking to me, you kind of got me away from the ledge, And because
you know what I'm telling you, what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing, all the conversation we had, I don't, you know, brought me to a place now, because we were just dealing with the issue at hand. We never dealt with where it starts and how we end up where we end up at. See that what you're talking about, that causes family problems. That's called a problem with the children, because you got to deal with issues. You hadn't got past a lot of things.
Yeah, I didn't let any of that control what I did as a husband or a dad.
How you not?
Because I kept it inside.
That's worse. That's what I'm saying. That's worse because you covering up.
You know, dude, I'm 65 years old. I still try to go to the gym 4 days a week. I try to bench press 290 pounds, and I'm dealing with a horrible shoulder and a bad back. And everybody tells me, you don't need to be doing all that. And I'm like, I understand that, but how do I get that? How do I not do that? You know, I told my son, my son flunked out of school. Put your keys, your credit card, everything that belongs to me, I want on this table. You know, you gotta go get a job, now you gotta, you were living a good life, now you gotta see what it's like. You gotta go, the best thing you can do is I got him a job working on the river, loading barges. Poor kid learned he didn't want to do that, so he went back to school, and now he's an operator of the lever. My daughter's a business development person, she's got her degree, and she's doing great up in Charlotte, North Carolina. So, maybe because I was tough, they succeeded.
Right. So, but see what that does. Sometimes that's no, like I said, gray area. As a
I didn't beat my children. I didn't beat my wife. I never did.
No, somebody should have been beating you. That's the
somebody probably should have.
Somebody should have been beating you.
But you know the thing is, and again I go back to this detox thing, and it's the best way I can.
I mean, I love it. I love what you're saying.
I know it's a powerful statement, right?
Yeah. I mean, because I can feel. Okay, Mark, let me tell you how mine ended, as you well know. I made it to the next level. Drafted second round, playing with the Atlanta Falcons. First year, got through okay. Started the second year in the NFL with Atlanta. Third game of the season, playing against Oakland Raiders. And I was after Marcus Allen. I saw him in New Orleans the month or so before, a couple months before, and he had an attitude like I went to shake his hand, and like, oh, I'm gonna get just so happy we playing him.
Right.
So, but at that game, I have a problem with my knee.
Right.
It's it's painful. Can't figure out what's happening. I tell the coaches, tell the trainers, tell everybody what's going on, and nobody see anything. And play that game. Tell them that I can't play. They put me in the game anyway. And second half, I say, well, look, y'all see me, I can't really run, I can't protect myself. They start me out anyway. They start me out the first game. Now they moved me inside. I was outside, they moved me inside. I'm playing both positions. Inside linebacker, what's that name again? Anthony Mujo?
Yeah.
6'6", 320 pounds, I guess.
He can move fast.
He coming straight at me. Marcus Allen behind him. Now I want Marcus now. But I can't protect myself.
Right.
I just dropped my shoulder to soft the blow. Atlanta get mad because Marcus run almost down to the 5-yard line. It's almost a 35, 40, 50-yard run. They mad at me to take me out the game. I'm glad. And I'm standing up there, and they, mad. So the next day was the start of the 82 strike season. They sent me to the hospital to get checked out. And that's when the doctor told me, first I was keeping out there all day.
Right.
And they told me 6 hours later, pack your bag, we're going to be flying you to Houston. Flying me to Houston? Yeah, to MD Anderson Hospital. Okay, why? Well, we see a mass. We don't know what's going on. So I I call my mom, tell my mom what's going on, and they fly me to MD Anderson in Houston. Next couple of days, they're doing all kind of testing, and they tell me what's happening. I have a giant cell tumor they don't know if it might be cancerous, it might not, they go through the school thing. But to make a long story short, that was the end of my career.
Right.
So how do I matriculate back into society now? What do I do? Where do I go from here? Who gonna help me? I go to LSU to get a job. They send me to a job, and the job pays $7 an hour. You know, you ain't used to those $7 an hour jobs, so you got to make a lot of adjustments. So now, as you said earlier, all athletes, they can play in the NFL for 15 years. They got to figure out what they're going to do.
Even an athlete that has a 12, 15-year career and plans his retirement, his last game, everything, even he has a hard time transition.
Right.
You know, how many times? And then you got this new thing that everybody's talking about, CTE. You know? I got a letter from the NCAA saying that they were looking at my records and I'm a good candidate for some study they want to do. Sign the paper, whatever you want to do. They think I had 7 concussions in my career. Now, that would explain a whole lot.
No, that still don't explain it.
But, you know,
I mean,
what was that guy, Julius Sayre? You know,
oh, killed.
yeah, he committed suicide. You know, so I don't know. I think that.
But Mark, I mean, you'd have taken us somewhere today, really. And it's a great conversation, and I truly appreciate this and that honesty. I didn't anticipate this, right? And it's hard for me to leave this because I want maybe we can help come to a resolve and help other people because this is serious. My son was in his senior year, went through where he's finally coming out of after 3 years. Like, okay, because life goes on. It's hard to, you know, what do I do? What you want to do? I don't know. I mean, unless somebody there to help, you know.
Where's the guidance? Where's the counseling? Where's the, you know, we make a whole lot of money now. Maybe we ought to take some of that money and invest it in a guy that sits down with these kids, talks to them on the way out. We certainly do a lot of talking to them on the way in. Right?
Yeah, so we need to offer the same. So there need to be some kind of, like you say, detoxing, or some kind of socialization going back and would take to the real world.
But you're no longer
because you're not in the real world.
You're not a celebrity anymore.
And we don't even treat athletes like normal people. We already do them a disservice. Even in junior high school, we're doing that to players.
Athletes are treated like celebrities. They have celebrity status.
It is because we know this.
So they know it.
And the players know this. But
look, the facts are screaming at everybody. Right?
Because you
take any ex-athlete from any sport and look at him 3 to 5 years right after he got out. He's either gotten arrested, he beat his wife, he's on drugs, he's on alcohol or something like that. You know what I'm saying? The transition from that celebrity to just Joe Blow, normal guy, is such a difficult thing to do. And everybody's doing it wrong. You know, whether you played your last game, then all of a sudden you faced with cancer. You know, and then you got your career's over. You got, you know, I guarantee you, dude. I know how you felt.
Oh, mentally, it took you went.
Then you had a bad coach, or whatever. You know, there's a guy that wrote a blog on Tiger Rag that claims, that's giving him a lot of credit, has chosen to focus on. In 2006, this guy wrote, there was he felt I didn't live up to my playing potential. One guy, one post, 2006, no other comments. Okay? I saw it, I looked at it, no big deal. Probably he's right, right?
So someone, 2006, decided to make a statement or comment regarding market
when Tiger dropped him, I'm sorry. So he says that. It stays there, and then a friend of my older brother, for some reason, has chosen to take that statement and throw it in my face just recently. You know, what kind of douchebag, excuse me, does that kind of shit? Right? But yet, he never played college football. So is it jealousy? But it's still, it's the fact that after 40 years, I'm
plus
still eating shit.
on somebody else's comment
Right,
or
somebody
statement.
else's bullshit. So, you said earlier about, you know, what I do now, and, you know, I try not to really let anything bother me. I'm at that age where nothing should bother me. I wanted to do this to speak to you, you know, candidly, heart to heart, and if this helps you, and you can get some of this truth that I just spoke about today out, then great. If not, it's no big deal. But this was just a conversation between me and my old friend.
And I'm telling you, and what a conversation it was. I know you always say, and that must be the nature of it. Most Italians, you know, speak from the heart.
Well, everything I've ever done,
Yeah.
when I've been around you, everything's come from my heart, right?
For real.
You know, I don't really have a great sense of humor. I joke around.
No, you got no, that ain't true. you got a different, little bit different sense of humor. But you got a good sense of
And
humor.
you're right, and sometimes I know I kind of push it, but
That's what I'm saying again.
I push it.
One more
But I
time.
only do that to my friends and guys I know get away with. Like I was telling you about Mike Johnson, and I mean, well, Mike, he didn't ask to be he was just unfortunate that his name was Johnson. And they stuck him in the first day. I said, who the fuck are you? You know? And the poor guy, I mean, and I said, man, you gotta like move over or something. You get in my room, man.
You don't realize you just joking
I
at me.
used to tell him, go take a bath and use soap this time. You know? And I was just messing.
But see, it took a while for people to realize that's Mark Ippolito. Right? You understand?
No, I get it.
Because first of all, it was the early stage of integration at LSU.
Yeah.
And you talked to any and everybody, right? But that was not a comfortable thing at the time for most people. But you was comfortable with it.
I was okay with
Yeah,
it.
but you was very comfortable with it. I had to become comfortable with it. So it was a process for me. But once I did, you know, I would just treat everybody like a human being.
No. Look, let me tell you, there's some people that were afraid of me.
Yeah.
I intimidate people. I don't see that, but they say I did.
Okay.
And I try to let them get over that, and I befriend them and everything. But you know, dude, I got to tell you, everything I've always done, I've done in the right direction and for the right reason. Not because I was trying to hurt nobody, insult anybody, or take anything away from anybody. You know. And again, if I have to prove my case, I would come to you. I mean, you know me pretty well.
Well, you know, like you say, you had what we call that. You had a sense of humor, but it was what we call that back then. It was like, because you walk up to people looking serious, right? Then you make a comment, and they say like,
Yeah, I'm not from serious now.
like, you know what? Now, hold on now, he better be playing. You know, and then you might give off a little laugh, a little smirk, or you might not. And you would walk away. So you would just walk away. Like it took me a while to figure out, man, that's just Mark, man. Don't take it serious. And I just start telling that to guys, right? Man, that guy came over here, man, that guy made that comment. Man, that's just Mark, bro. That's just, he good dude, man.
I ran into Dimitri Williams once at a restaurant in Maui.
Who's no longer with
He
us.
was over with us, and we had a great conversation. And after that conversation, he come up to me and says, man, you're all right. What does that mean, man? and he says, well, I used to think you were an asshole.
So most of us did. So,
I said, well, that's all right, man. So I guess if I come off like one, I'm sorry, and I accept what the rep is.
now we can't close this thing without talking about Dr. Jack Endo. Dear friend, matter of fact, he was on the podcast about a year ago. I think you had a chance to hear which we got someone we love and dear, respected dearly.
Dr. Jack was also one of those responsible for recruiting. I think the thing Dr. Jack's a little quiet guy. and compared to the other loudmouth and big, boisterous other guys, he kind of blends into the background. But I tell you what, I was just walking down the hall and I saw his name on the wall in this place, and Dr. Jack, and his wife treated me very well. And, you know, I tell you what, I hope that there were a handful of people like Dr. Jack that I made proud in some way, like you. And, I know your connection with him.
Yeah.
And,
It was wonderful to sit there and have a conversation.
yeah, you said you gave me his phone number.
Yeah, I gave you the number, so we'll put that on you. But anyway, matter of fact, we were looking forward to doing the interview at Dr. Jack and Donnie Museum next door. But we over here thanks to my dear friend and brother over here, John Grubb, who makes sure that Count Time have a place to do interviews over here at Log Cook Hotel. We thank you, John, for being here and supporting us. I'd like to thank my dear friend and brother, colleague, and teammate, Mark Ippolito, for being here today, being on Count Time and supporting us and giving us his story, his history, and just straight to the point and blunt about his life. Thank you for being on Count Time.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity. I hope that this forum does everything you want it to do. I think it's good to have an opportunity to get reach out and grab a whole has-been like me and tell his story. I think the thing that's going to make this interesting is the fact that you and I have a history.
Right, we're friends, so we have it was honest, a lot of honesty, you know.
There's nothing.
I didn't expect anything less.
Nothing but honesty, nothing but, and truly, a lot of people throw brother around and my friend, but I mean it from the heart. I love you, brother.
Thank you, man. Thank
You're
you.
a great man.
Thank
I
you,
love
man.
you.
That meant a lot. That meant a whole lot. And I'm just have to tell you once again, man, you done took me somewhere and gave me, you put a lot out that we need to process, digest, because we talking about 40-something years ago of going through, as an athlete, going through this system, and you telling us the impact, the effect of it from 40 years ago. So now it's 45 years later, and these young men are still being affected. Same things are still happening. So there needs to be something done at an early stage, at an early age, because you might have, back then we had almost 100 guys on the team.
Do you know that some companies, whether you get fired, retire, quit, they offer you an exit interview? Did you get an exit interview with any football team? Don't you think they would do a good idea, at least to do a minimum exit interview?
You at least answer the whys. Huh?
If it works for business, why can't it work for football? Because football is a business. But you know,
business.
a coach ought to be concerned that a lot, like look what Deion Sanders did at Colorado. Fortunately for all of those players, because a lot of those players, when he showed up there, didn't fit into his plan. He helped get them into the transfer portal. That's also where he got most of his team from. But back in our day, there was no transfer portal. But still,
You were stuck.
you either stuck, you fit in, or you didn't fit in. You know, you played the game, or you didn't play the game. But by offering some of these guys an exit interview or some kind of way to just transition to the other side a little bit easier, you know, might be the difference in saving his life or not. Or keeping him off of alcohol, or keeping him off of drugs.
Which is taking his life away, one way or
Yeah,
another.
well, there's not to tell you 10 guys right now that you and I
I can tell you more than 10.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
And I use Danny Swallow because Danny is no longer with us. He transitioned in 2004, 2005.
But there's so many of them.
But and hopefully this can create some conversation. They was talking, NFL talking about the CTE and how it affects the players, but it's beyond that. Like I said, it starts in the early age.
I think it's an emotional thing first. You can't find a spot on anybody's brain by taking an X-ray, because these emotions exist inside your heart and your psyche. I missed playing football. I missed being part of the team. I missed the competitive nature. I missed the organized sport. I had to go get a job and be a regular fucking guy. It was hard, man. And I mean,
Oh, you did.
I got married, and the first thing we did was started having kids. So I'm thinking the responsibility to people
To focus
provide
on
for them was giving me something to.
your purpose now.
Yeah, and I told you at my age, sometimes I struggle with purpose. I live by myself. I mean, I got a good life. I live a good life. But, you know, it's again, it's transitioning into middle age, old age, whatever.
Well, hold on, now, I forgot about that. Now, you and I had a serious conversation, and it shook me when you made that comment about, like purpose, and that's because we don't know our purpose. That's what you live this life to fulfill a purpose. That's what we was talking about.
Okay, I had a purpose to raise kids. I had a purpose to be a good husband. I had a purpose to be a good son. I had a purpose to be a good brother. As you get older, my parents are no longer with us. I lost my younger brother. My kids are gone. I'm divorced. So right there, that's 5 purposeful things that I don't do anymore.
Right. So what do you? So where's your purpose in all
I'm
this?
trying to transition and make myself my purpose. You know,
So,
I go to a non-denominational church now because I don't trust what the Catholics do. I got a feeling that bothers me. You know, preach with the young boys. So I go to this church called One Hope Nola, and there's a young pastor by the name of Josh Canizero, and he's kind of helping me get my train back on the track, so to speak. But it's like I don't intend on retiring. I don't intend on staying home and minding my business. I want to be out there. I'm out there with my customers, my clients, my friends, and I do what I got to do. Yeah, it's difficult sometimes to say, hey, what's my purpose in life right now?
Well, I think you showed it in this interview because your purpose could be to bring this whole thing to bring attention to this because you are one of the people who was affected by this system. I think athletics.
Yeah, athletics is great. It could be, and it can be better. And like I said,
I mean, it got its ups, but it's got the downs that nobody sees.
It's got a dark legacy.
Yeah, that nobody sees because down people say, oh, he's just mad he didn't make it. He just mad. You damn right. You know?
Yeah, I am mad.
You know?
I was supposed to do this, and I was supposed to be there, and I wasn't supposed to absorb a coaching change. And 2 coaches, dude. We went through both Ryan and Jerry Starr.
We're thinking about that.
So, you know, but that's the deal you get. And look, let me tell you something. I tried to tell my daughter this. No matter what, nothing stays the same. Always be ready for the change, baby, because it's coming. And if you need any help furthering this topic, I'll be more than happy.
Oh, man, look, there's a lot more, there's many more like you out there who's still grappling, contending, fighting with this thing, because the issue with that is the letdown as a young man that what you didn't succeed is something that you thought, and other people told you you're supposed to succeed.
Oh, yeah, there
on
was
top
a
of
million
it.
people with me while I was on top. But the minute that day came, I woke up as a normal person. It was nobody there.
And you since then you've been figuring this thing out. You still figuring it
I'm
out.
still working it out.
That's amazing. That's
But
amazing.
but it's tough. It's tough. Transition is tough. You know.
Oh yeah, right. But I have to say, and I'm thank you. I think that this is the day the Lord has made. And we're going to rejoice and be glad in it, because we're going to have to say that your purpose was for this day, this time, this place, and this conversation. Because I believe that this conversation is going to catapult into a whole other direction, because, man, nobody thinking about this, Mark. This is not even a conversation. Only in the NFL because of another situation.
That's the problem. Nobody's talking about it. You know, if I was a recruit's parents, and you came to my house to recruit my son. I said, what you gonna do when you finish with it? You gonna help him transition back into a normal person? And if you don't have a program like that, then you're not gonna be interested in school.
Matter of fact, the party that's the most guilty, I'm about to say this, at this, is the U.S. government and the military. These people they train for war, they go to combat. People shooting at them, some been shot, some been shot other people, and they just send them home. So athletes and veterans are in the
Warriors.
Are in the exact same position and
Gladiators,
condition.
warriors. My dad was a World War II veteran. He went to the Philippines, came home, never said a word about it. Never talked to nobody about it, but you can see there was something going on. And my dad was a great man, took care of his family, fed us, he did. But I often wonder what he dreamt about.
It was on his mind.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. The veterans go through this. And I'm not making, I don't want to embarrass them by making them small and say, oh, the athletes go through it. It's a similar situation, you're right. You know, the veterans don't have an exit interview.
No, I mean, they just send them home.
They send them home.
I watched
Sometimes they send them home in pieces.
I watched my mama's brother, Mickey Mayfield Johnson Jr., my mama's oldest brother, left here, went to Vietnam War, came back. We couldn't stand to be around him. He wouldn't because his temperament had changed. He couldn't take yelling. He couldn't take hollering. He couldn't take anybody disturbing his spirit. Because, you know, he was used to being shot at and seeing people shot, I guess. We never had a conversation. But I just know as a young man, I'm like, oh, I don't want to be, oh, here come Uncle Mickey, let's leave.
Yeah, and that's what happens when you get, you become the downer of the party, you know? Everybody likes the life of the party, but supposing you're a downer, and there's a lot of guys you know that are upset with themselves because of the way their careers ended.
There's more upset than there are happy.
Yeah, because the picture is painted to be. So, yeah.
Right. But I mean, it was. Man, I thank you. I thank you. Say, brother, Deacon Mark.
Yeah.
For this compliment. I thank you for being part of here, part of Countdown. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for sharing this wonderful story, your wonderful history, but your truths about where you've been, how you got there, and where you're going, and what it have taken to this point in time. Thank you for being part of Countdown.
Well, I only did it for you.
I appreciate it. Much love, brother.
Same here. All right. I got